Hi, this is Cindy Presgraves, and welcome to my podcast, Real Estate, Divorce, Single Mom. All right, today I want to talk about, I left you guys about how I basically joined a team, moved from Minot, North Dakota to Georgia, and now I'm in Georgia. What am I doing? So the first couple of months, the first couple of years, going back to that, it was a struggle, believe me. I mean, I'll be talking more about my relationship today. So it was a struggle. My ex-husband was in South Korea while I was in Georgia with two little kids. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to give him some credit because while I was doing my internship in Georgia at Chateau Alon, he was the one taking care of the kids, but I think this was like for 3 months. And since I missed him a lot, then I moved back to North Dakota. So in this case, it was a struggle. And I didn't want to be away from the kids again. So I went back. Now he just got orders. He moved to South Korea. I didn't know what I was expecting in the future. I knew it was going to be tough. I thought we would just be visiting back and forth and, simple. No, the reality hit. It was not simple. It was hard. Time change. We're in different time zones. Communication. I mean, we would see each other, but I'm going to say something here that I'm going to be like, I was selfish in this case because I wanted him to be with me. And I wanted him to be with me. I loved him. I missed him. But back then, I did not understand that it was okay for him to have fun and enjoy himself. But it was okay to have fun, but it was not okay to drain the bank account. That's a totally different story, totally different ball game. For me, it was important. We were living in two different worlds, two different households, but he didn't understand the whole aspect of, hey, you have a house here too. Don't be eating out all the time. And as an ex-military spouse or former military spouse, it's hard. It is hard. And sometimes, when they're overseas, they want they're like, hey, drinking, playing, let's go out, let me enjoy my time. And then the single life switch turns on like, oh gosh, what am I doing? Yes, no, what? So this for me was very, very new. I had never experienced a deployment like this, or let's say an unaccompanied tour, because it was an accompanied tour. He had been previously TDY, it's temporary duty station, I think it is. TDY, I don't know. I cannot remember what the acronyms actually mean specifically. But for me, it was like, hey, you know what? Usually 27 days a month, we've dealt with it. But this time it was everything different. I did not know back in my relationship, I thought everything was perfect. I thought that we had a great communication. We had a great marriage and everything was going fine. Everything was going well. I mean, honestly, I thought I was going to be married for the rest of my life. I was wrong on that. And it's okay. You know what? I've gotten over it. I mean, it was painful, but I did get over it. And now that he's in South Korea, I'm with the kids in Minot getting ready. Well, yeah. Moved to Georgia. Now I'm starting a new life. I don't have any friends. I didn't have a good relationship with his parents, unfortunately. And even though no matter how much I tried, it never went well. But anyways, that's a totally different thing. But in this case, it's just like, I tried, like, for me, the way I was raised, it was a little bit different. I come from Latina roots. I'm Hispanic. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Peruvian. And there's a lot of things that when you grow up in a Hispanic culture, you got your family that's always involved, the rice and beans, las arroz y habichuelas, and everything like that. But when it comes to a relationship with a person, I really didn't know how to have a healthy relationship with someone. And those are the things that I've been working for the past 3 years on how to trust someone. I grew up in a broken household, meaning, yes, my parents were married, but it was a very toxic relationship that they had. I grew up within fights, arguments. My dad was not really in the picture. He was never at home. And I know it's sad to say, but I never really had a father figure. He could be there, but he was not really there. And I always was like, hey, you know what? I always grew up as, hey, you know what? You need to go ahead and be that successful woman. You cannot depend on anybody. You gotta push through. You gotta, you have to be successful. But I did not know the meaning of being successful. I thought it was all about money, money, money. I thought it was like the higher you get into a company. When I was younger, I wanted to be a CEO of a company. But little did I know, I didn't know that I could actually be the CEO of my own company by me being the owner of my own company. And that's where I started Cindy's Realty Group. So this is my card. I haven't updated yet, but this is my card. I mean, you see the hot pink, you see that's my branding. I'll get more into that further down the episodes and all that. But it's, now that I'm 3 years later, I'm doing this podcast. I've been working a lot on myself. I've been learning a lot about myself, about my childhood traumas. What can I do to improve myself as a person? Not only that as a person, but as a professional. And it's really, really, it's really interesting, the things that you learn. There's a lot of things like I recently hired a dating coach. Yes, a dating coach. And the reason I hired a dating coach is because I kept on getting onto the same type of relationships. Emotionally available men. Why did I always have to go ahead and chase after men? Why didn't I have them chase after me? And that's one of the things that I've been basically learning. It all has to do with the root of the cause of the root. So where did I find that? What happened in my childhood? Okay, my dad was never there. My dad was a full source provider, as he was monetarily, he was providing for us all the time. He was giving us, like, whenever I had, like, I would talk to my dad, like, Dad, you know what, I feel bad. He would say, here's $500. Okay. But I didn't want that. I wanted my dad to go ahead and sit down and talk to me and say, hey, this is what you have to do. I wanted that father figure that I didn't get. And I guess that's one of the reasons that I actually was always really close and admire my uncle, because he would always talk to me like a daughter. My dad, I love my dad, don't get me wrong, but he was not the most communicative person that I could have had at that time. And, it's a lot of things that you have to think about. The issues that you have now, where are they coming from? Like, yes, I had trust issues, and it's, trust issues, but where did that come from? What was the root of the cause of that? Why that? Okay, when I was little, I remember my dad would say, never go to the same place twice. And if you do anything, you never go around the same place. Or you have to be like at least 20 miles. Don't do things where people know you. Always learn the license plate of people. Always, like, it's just like, don't ever take the same route to the house. Okay, I was like 11, 12 years old back then. And it was like really interesting for me. I'm like, okay, so why would my dad tell me that stuff? So now seeing all these patterns and seeing how I grew up, and so my household, I grew up in a verbally abusive household. So it was verbally, emotionally, and mentally. And honestly, I mean, now that I think about it as an adult, it's, if I would have continued with the same patterns, that means that can affect my kids. I don't want my kids to grow in the same patterns as I did. I want them to have a healthy lifestyle. And this is why I basically read all these books. This is where it's coming from. Like, forgiveness is a great part of it. Not only that, but okay, I'm going to tell you something. So this is something that my dating coach gave me like last week. So there's the ego versus self graphic. So self, ego versus self. So in this case, I used to now I'm working on how to be less prideful. Meaning that if I need help, it is okay to ask for help. While I was growing up, my mom wouldn't ask for help. She would say always, you don't need to ask for help for anybody because they always want something from you. That is not true. I've had help. I've helped so many people. And you know what? What you give is what you're going to receive. Even if you don't get anything from that person, the universe will pay you back. Always do things right. And that's how I was raised. Do things right. But if you need help, you need help. It is okay to ask for help. So I'm going to read you this graphic. It's like, okay, so when you're talking about ego, think about this and write this down if you needed to. So you got the false self and the true self. So we're going to be talking about the ego statement here, which is the judgmental. That's ego. Victim blames it on others. Keeps conflict and drama alive. I stay away from that completely. Complaining. Focus on the past and the future. Feels inferior or superior to others. Complex and intellectual. Stressed and worried. You have feels alone in the world. Needs to improve worth through work, service. Feels small and never good enough. You also have does things only for the approval of others. Gives one authority over to others, ruled by time, needs constant validation and approval, comfortable being alone unless distracted, takes oneself too seriously. So now when we talk about self, this is going to be accepting of others. That means you're being humble. You're being, this is going to be these are things that you should actually look at that is going to help you develop and evolve into a better person. So if we're talking about true self, now, yes, we are accepting of others. It is okay. You know what? Everybody has a story. Everybody has skeletons in your closet. It's life. We learn from our mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And so I'm going to finish with this and then I'm going to tell you a little bit of another story here. So it takes responsibility for one's experience, forgiveness, grateful, present focus, knows everyone is equal, simple wisdom, relaxed and trust in the divine, knows you are one with the universe, God, feels loved and accepted for being oneself, trusts self, and makes intuition the authority, trust in the flow of life, does things only to please one highest consciousness, secure in oneself to truly listen to others, comfortable being alone, able to laugh at oneself. So these are things that when I look at them and think about them, these are things that have taken me so long to get where I am. And it's basically, accepting it for others. And you know what? If I do something wrong, look, I did something wrong. I apologize. I move on. But sometimes we have so much resentment that we don't know where we're coming from, what's going on, and how we need help. That's one of the main things there. So are you being grateful? Are you presented with focus? Are you being relaxed and are you trusting things? Sometimes we're so desperate to get things done or see what's going to happen. And sometimes we just have to let things go with the flow. Just imagine sometimes. All right. So if you're this is what I've learned in the past couple of years too, is if I'm late, there's a reason. Okay. Yes, I could have left 15 minutes earlier probably, or on time. But keep in mind when something is is not meant to be, or something is protecting you, you know what? Okay, so for instance, I will say, if you were to get on the road and you were late and you're like, oh my gosh, you get upset. Why are you getting upset? Don't get upset. It'd be like, it's okay. Just tell them you're delayed. Something happened, because you might be getting protected for something. Something is protecting you, because it's incredible. And it's just like, okay, so this is happening. This is happening. I need to get there. You know what? Just relax. Just relax and take it calmly, because you never know what might happen, or what are you being protected from. So that's one of the things. I mean, also forgiveness. You know what? If you're upset with someone or you have resentment, just write a letter. So the book that I'm writing, I have my friend Nikki. She's a really, really good friend. She actually lives here in Gainesville. And we went to high school together, but we were never friends till 3 years ago. So back in high school, I used to like her boyfriend. This was like in ninth grade, and I sent him an email, an e-crush email. I don't know if you guys remember. Some of you might be young, some of you guys might be a little bit older. So I had a crush on him, and well, he had a girlfriend, and I sent him this e-crush, which is funny. I got sent to the principal's office, but little did I know that 20 years down the road, or even 15 years down the road, I would be great friends with Nikki. You know, Nikki and I, we help each other out. We're really good friends. She knows everything that's going on in my life. She knows that if I'm not talking to her, something's up. Something's definitely up. So that's why I'm saying, you know what, forgiveness, and never burn bridges. Sometimes we do have to burn bridges just to move forward. But life is so short, and it's like everybody knows someone somewhere related, and down the road you never know where you're going to need help from or who you need to contact. So being prideful is not going to get you anywhere. So now I want to mention a little bit of real estate here. Okay, they always say that real estate is a cutthroat business. It's a cutthroat business. People just, go after each other and all that. Look, the past 3 years that I've been here in Georgia, I've made great relationships, developed great relationship with people and all that. And, it's about working with each other, knowing each other. Yeah, you know what? Hey, there's enough business for everybody. Are you doing your business? Are you keeping up with what you have to do? Then that's on you. The other person gets more listings than you, or gets more buyers, or gets more business. That's on you. That's not on them. Everybody's an independent contractor. So everybody works individually. Everybody's their own CEO of their company. But when it comes to business, you know what? Yes, we can all connect. We can all help each other, work with each other, because that is going to help. Keep in mind, you're putting your client in front of you. You're also helping by connecting with them as well, with connecting with other agents. Look, I belong to this mastermind, and it's a morning mastermind. It's amazing. It's nationwide. We meet every single morning, and we talk about different things, which is amazing. So in this case, it's, what are we doing here? How can we help each other? Is the market there different? Are you seeing any changes in the market? What are you doing to go ahead and help each other? So in my case, they were sending letters out, which it's Heather. I can't remember her last name, but Heather's part of my mastermind, and she is in somewhere. But I can't remember where she's at right now. But in this case, she started sending letters through the pandemic, and sending letters, white envelopes with a letter. I send those letters. I send 700 letters for sellers, people that have houses that might be thinking about selling their house. So in this case, I decided, instead of sending a white envelope, and I'm going to go ahead and a white envelope, I decided to do it with my brand. And I am trying to pull this here. Okay. So in this case, if I were to send a hot pink and a white one, right? Which one would you choose? Which one would you throw away, and which one would you open? This one, the white one, or would you throw away the hot pink one. Of course you're not. Of course you're not going to throw away the hot pink one. You're going to open this one. You most likely throw this one away, right? So in this case, so I basically share that with a group. And I've had great success with that because a lot of people will not throw that away. But at the same time, because it's my brand, I want to do it. And it's also branding people as well. So even though no matter if you're in real estate, no matter what type of business you are, always think outside the box. Make sure that you're being creative with all these things. Now going back to relationships. So it was a little bit hard for me. It was hard. My divorce was really hard. And how I grew up, it's been like I learned what is my love language. I've learned what is my attachment. There's so many things that sometimes we don't even think about what the root of the cause is, and learning from ourselves. How can we become a better person? Not only for us, but also for our kids or our future kids, even if you don't have a kid. So these are things that I'm always thinking now. I mean, am I doing the right thing? How am I becoming the best person and the best version of myself as a mom? Not only that, as a mom, as a business professional, and a dad too at times. Because I'm a mom and I'm a dad. Their dad lives in Japan, right? But I want to mold my kids into the best version I can. I want to have them into a healthy relationship. Now I'm getting into a little bit of a family here. So as growing up in my Puerto Rican Peruvian family, there's always been a lot of resentment. Like, oh, you cannot talk to this person. We got into a grudge or something. Blah, 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 blah. This is my Peruvian grandmother. I'm not talking bad about her, but this is how they were raised. There's always been a lot of resentment. And, it's like my mom has 8 stepbrothers that they're way older than she is. My grandfather was 30 years older than my grandmother. So that tells you a lot. So growing in that household was like, oh, you shouldn't talk to her, talk to exes or anything. Now, my ex-husband has an ex-wife. And I always tried to have a great conversation with her, great relationship, but unfortunately that did not work. I even wrote her letters because it's important to co-parent. Now that I am the ex-wife and we have 2 little kids, if he wants to see the kids, I'm like, look, go see the kids. Not a problem. You want to talk to the kids? Talk to the kids. You want to come over? Come over. A couple weeks ago, he went ahead and he's like, hey, I'm coming home. I'm like, okay. All right, when are you coming? You want to take the kids? Take the kids. It's healthy for the kids. It's a healthy lifestyle for the kids. Why should I pull my kids away from their dad? No, that's not healthy. You're being selfish if you're doing that. Even if you don't like it, you're being selfish. Because now I have to think about all of these things. So now going back to how I grew up, it was totally different. Totally different on this. It was not the same. It was not like the way that I grew up is not the same way I'm raising my kids. I'm becoming the best version of myself, and how I can help my kids become the best version of themselves as well. Like supporting them, like, hey, you know what? Even they have like a drawing or something. Hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do that. Like, a couple of weeks ago, I had my son say, hey, you know what? I am a very adventurous person. So everything that I didn't do when I was little, I'm doing it now, which is amazing. So we went zip lining. So I'm a little bit of adventurous. I love working out. I love running. I love doing different things that my parents didn't raise me with. So I'm very extreme and opposite to my family. I guess I'm the outcast of them. So my son wanted to go ziplining, and I told him, hey, let's go ziplining and all that. And he's like, yeah, I want to go ziplining. I'm like, perfect. My mom and I, we got into an argument in the car. because she's saying that that would affect my son emotionally and mentally. I'm like, no, it's not. It's most likely it's an adventure. It's going to broaden his horizons, and it's going to have a different mindset. You know, it's exposing kids to things like this, which has helped them as a person. You know, sometimes we just focus on the things that we're just used to, but that's not true. It's most likely we gotta think outside the box and get out of our comfort zone. Because you know what? If we don't get out of our comfort zone, what's going to happen? We're going to be stuck all the time in the same place over and over and over again. So this is basically where I'm going with this, and it's really, really interesting. So like I said, I mean, relationships are hard. Marriages are hard. No matter what it is, everything's going to be, you know, you can actually go ahead and develop it's working the relationship, but first you have to work on yourself. If you're single, you're divorced, you're going through something, look, I can recommend you, there's an amazing book if you're going through something right now. I recommend Love and Respect. Love and Respect is an amazing book. It talks about the blue and the pink blue and pink sunglasses. And sometimes there's a thing that we don't even think about. You know, sometimes we just are focused on ourselves and being selfish, and we don't think about the other person. So now I'm asking you, what are the things that you guys are thinking about yourself? What are the things that you guys are needing help with or not doing? Hey, you know what? If they want to go play video games, let them play video games. If, well, to a certain extent, to video games, if they want to watch the game, watch it with them, get involved with them, you know, make them a priority. And that's important. In my case, with my divorce, I'm not so sure what happened there. A lot had to do with his ex-wife. I was in a 8-year relationship, marriage with an ex that was not helpful for my marriage at all. I was trying to make everything work. On both sides, I wanted things to fit correctly. I wanted to have a happy family, but it didn't work. You know, sometimes, but mainly it was the alcoholism. He started drinking a lot. That's another thing too. And there's a lot of things that I actually found out when he was overseas that helps. Like there's Al-Anon, there's I was going through therapy, counseling, social worker. I went through a spiritual awakening. Well, I went through a spiritual phase too, and I still am in my spiritual phase. I asked the universe for my highest and best. And I read books of law of attraction on how to work myself. Like there's this really good book that I read too, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabriel Bernstein. It is an amazing book that helped me get through things too. You know, like I said, it was not an easy process. So that's where I was with my whole relationship. It was, you know, I remember still in April, I went to South Korea. I flew for 2 days and he left me at the hotel in South Korea after I flew there. And let's say that I did a little bit of research from my computer, from my computer to his phone, and I saw a picture of another woman. So there was more to it. I mean, unfortunately, things are like they are. He still wants me back, but I cannot be with someone like that. It does hurt sometimes, but it doesn't hurt the whole fact. For me, like I've gotten over that phase. I've forgiven. I've moved on. But at that time, it destroyed me. I would be, and you know, it's okay to be sad. It is okay to be, you know, to be depressed. But you know what? Whenever you get up on your feet, you'll become twice, 3 times stronger than you were. And not even 10 times, not even 3 times. I would say 10 times. Because if it were not for that, I would not be talking to you guys today. I would not be letting you guys know about my experience. So it's a very interesting journey that I've been through. But my next episode, I'll make it real estate and how I basically have a schedule for my kids and how I basically raise them. And, it's a little bit of everything on this podcast. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Comments, share this, and I hope to hear you guys soon. Have a wonderful day.